Hey guys, welcome back to the Sideburn Hunter. Today we're talking isobutane fuel canisters. Is one better than the other? Is there a best? Should you just buy the cheapest? Is there any difference between these fuel canisters? Today we're going to test 9 different fuel canisters, so let's get started. We're testing 8-ounce, 230-gram weight class canisters. Just by looking at the location of manufacturer and the date stamp on the bottom of these canisters, we can learn a couple things. The first one is the Coleman Performance Fuel Blend. The unique thing about this is it's manufactured in France, while all of the others in this test are manufactured in Korea. One part of note is that this does not have a cap. All of the other 9 in this test have a cap. If we look at the bottom of the canisters of the MSR Isopro and the SnowPeak Giga Power, the bottoms both have similar type and a similar date stamp, indicating that these were manufactured in the same facility. The Jetboil Jetpower has a unique date stamp on the bottom not found in any of the other canisters. By looking at the bottom of the next 5 contenders, they all appear to be manufactured in the same Korean facility. The Olicamp 4-Season Blend, the Perune All-Season Fuel Mix, the GSI Outdoors Fuel Canister, Energy by Optimus, and Primus Power Gas. As far as price is concerned, this test doesn't do a good representation of the prices. Some of these I had to purchase online, and as a result I paid way more than you'd pay for in your local sporting goods store. I will note, however, that I found the Primus Power Gas the cheapest of all of them. I found it for $4.99 at a local Big 5 sporting goods. Here's how the test is going to go. First, I'm going to weigh in all of these cartridges, and then at the completion of testing, I'm going to weigh them out to determine how much fuel is really in these canisters. I've set up 9 16.5-ounce water bottles in my basement in a temperature-controlled area. I'm going to add those bottles to my Olicamp pot and time how long it takes to bring those to a boil. That test will be complete when the water reaches 200 degrees. We're at high altitude here, and I won't make it to 212. While that test is taking place, I'm going to have a thermocouple directly in the flame and measure how hot of a flame we get with the pot on. Once the water has reached its boiling point, I'm going to remove the water and continue the test until the bottle is expended, keeping track of the time. Once the bottle is expended, I'm going to reweigh it and determine how much fuel was actually in the canister. I'm going to be performing these tests with my Olicamp Electron stove. Let's get started. The caps have all been removed. Let's see how much they weigh. The Coleman Performance Fuel Blend, 364 grams. The MSR Isopro All-Season Fuel Blend, 377 grams. SnowPeak Giga Power, 365 grams. Jetboil Jetpower, 367 grams. Olicamp 4-Season Performance Mixture, 377 grams. The Perune Isobutane Fuel Cartridge, 377 grams. Energy by Optimus, 368 grams. The GSI Isobutane Fuel Cartridge, 379 grams. Primus Power Gas, 379 grams. Let's get started with the first test. This is the Coleman Performance Fuel Blend. The Coleman reached 530 degrees Celsius. The MSR reached 643 degrees Celsius. The SnowPeak Giga Power reached 548 degrees. The Jetboil reached 632 degrees. The Olicamp produced a very hot 674 degrees Celsius. The Perune continued to climb until it reached a respectable 614 degrees Celsius. Energy by Optimus struggled to reach a high temperature during the boil, so I let it continue. It eventually reached a meager 511 degrees Celsius. GSI Outdoors finally reached a respectable 601 degrees Celsius right as the water began to boil. The Primus rounds out the group with 513 degrees Celsius. I'm interested to see if these cooler burning cartridges are going to last longer. So far, I'm really surprised by the results of this test. I really expected them all to perform very similar, but in this case, we're seeing a huge difference in maximum temperature. We had a difference of 163 degrees Celsius, giving us a spread of over 25%. Olicamp is in the lead, followed by MSR and then Jetboil. Coleman, SnowPeak, Optimus, and Primus all performed at a much lower temperature. We'll see if these lower temperatures pay off in the long run by giving us a longer burn time overall. Up next, let's see how fast these can boil 16 ounces of water. The Coleman was able to boil the water in 3 minutes and 2 seconds. MSR brought the water to a boil in 2 minutes and 57 seconds, beating out the Coleman. SnowPeak took an edge over the MSR by boiling the water in 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Jetboil did one better with 2 minutes and 55 seconds. The Olicamp came in at 3 minutes and 3 seconds to boil the water. The Perune came in at a scorching 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Optimus was able to boil the water in 2 minutes and 57 seconds. The GSI took a while to boil the water and finally brought it to a boil at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. The slowest of the bunch comes in with the Primus, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Despite the large difference in temperatures between these different canisters, the time to boil the water was very similar. The Perune had a middle-of-the-road temperature, but was able to boil the water, beating the competition in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. The graph here is in seconds, as it's easier to see any differences that exist. Perune was in the lead, followed by Jetboil, and then SnowPeak. GSI and Primus took up the rear, having times in the 3-minute and 20-second range. Overall, though, there wasn't a lot of difference between any of the cartridges in the time to boil test. Let's move on and see how long these cartridges last until they burn out. We'll see if some of these that burned hotter last longer or shorter. Let's get started with the testing. Coleman lasted for 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds. These lasted way longer than I was expecting. The MSR came in at 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 16 seconds. The SnowPeak came in at 2 hours and 22 seconds even. Not a very good performance. The Jetboil was exhausted in 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 48 seconds. Not only did the Olicamp have a high temperature, but it also lasted a good time at 3 hours, 11 minutes, and 8 seconds. Perune completed this test in 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 8 seconds. Optimus burnt out after 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 29 seconds. The GSI was expended in 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 40 seconds. Primus had a good showing with 3 hours, 13 minutes, and 13 seconds. This test really showed the difference between some of these cartridges. The burn times were around 3 hours, however, the difference in time between the longest burn and the shortest burn came close to a whole hour. The stars of this test were the Olicamp, the Primus, and the winner, and also the first one, the Coleman, at 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds. What a performance. Let's weigh these back out and see how much fuel each canister contained. The Coleman now weighs 145 grams, giving us a total fuel capacity of 220 grams. The MSR now weighs 150 grams, giving us a total fuel capacity of 227 grams, beating out the Coleman. The Giga Power now weighs 147 grams, giving us a total fuel capacity of 217 grams, less than the previous two. The Jetboil now weighs 136 grams, giving us a total fuel of 231 grams, the best yet. The Olicamp now weighs 147 grams, giving us a total fuel of 229 grams, just behind the Jetboil. The Perune now weighs 147 grams, having a total fuel weight of 230 grams. The Optimus now weighs 148 grams, having contained a total fuel weight of 220 grams. The GSI Outdoors now weighs 150 grams, having a total fuel weight of 229 grams. Not bad. The Primus now weighs 149 grams, having a total fuel weight of 230 grams. Right on the money. For this test, there were some differences in weight. All of the weights fell very close to the 230 gram standard.
Jetboil slightly exceeded this with a capacity of 231 grams.
So with all the testing complete, how do I really think these did? Well, there was a wide difference in how these cartridges performed. Some were very hot, some were very cold. Those hot ones burnt out faster, the cold ones lasted a lot longer during the tests. There weren't many differences in the weight of the cartridges, and the boil times were fairly consistent. So what can you expect out of a fuel canister? You can expect to be able to boil 16 ounces of water in about 3 minutes, and you can expect a burn time of greater than 2.5 hours. So what were the winners? What were the losers? There weren't any clear winners that stood out. I can say this, I was disappointed in the SnowPeak and the GSI. Both of them had low temperatures and short burn times. The ones that I liked the Jetboil. It consistently performed well. I liked the MSR. I really liked the Olicamp. The Primus even shined in some cases. And the Perune did well. Unfortunately, the Perune doesn't seem to be available here domestically in the United States. That being said, what would I buy if I needed to bring something hunting with me tomorrow? Well, it'd probably be one of two choices. I'd either pick the Coleman because I can get it at Walmart, it's inexpensive, and it'll last me a really long time, or I'm going to buy whatever's the cheapest, which for me is the Primus. I can get that down the street for $4.99. That's a great buy. It's a hot burning cartridge. So in the end, I'd quite frankly buy whatever's easiest or cheapest for you. The thin margins of performance differences here, I just don't think really matter for the vast majority of us hunters, backpackers, and hikers, or even campers. It just doesn't matter that much. So, buy whatever. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and as always, check out new and interesting content at thesideBurnHunter.com. Until next time, you've been watching The Sideburn Hunter.